tonight. Virtually no trains right across the capital as the latest strike takes hold. With more planned over the next few days, we're being told a normal service won't be back till next week.
I'm at Waterloo, where the last train has already departed after another day of strike misery.
They're saying people, don't travel, you don't have to, but I'm a doctor, I have to be in work today.
It took me about 2 and a bit hours, where usually I can just get in an hour. So yeah, it's been a bit of a pain really.
Human remains found on a pond in Harlow are finally identified as this man, as 2 are arrested. The new tech that can smell tumours in seconds. Experts are calling it a cancer game changer. And
we can work it out, babe. Talk to me.
He's a friend of ITV News London, and now he's got royal approval. We'll be chatting to DJ Spoonie. Good evening. London was dealing with yet another train strike today, with virtually no trains in and out of the capital. Members of ASLEF and at 15 rail companies walked out in a dispute over paying conditions. It comes as the boss of the train drivers' union warned that any attempt by the government to bring in new anti-strike laws could intensify the industrial action. Well, our reporter Charlene is at Waterloo Station for us, where she will have the latest on the dispute in just a moment. But it's not just in the city and central London where the impact is being felt. London's commuter towns are also bearing the brunt. For example, Guildford. It hasn't had a train all week. Businesses have lost money and people have been forced to work from home, as our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
The trains on platforms 2, 5 and 6 were going nowhere. Guildford is the Surrey commuter town where the trains stopped running on Monday and won't restart until Sunday. This was day 3 of rail strike ping-pong between the RMT and ASLEF. Guildford without trains is like turning the clock back almost 2 centuries. The railways came to Guildford 180 years ago. Today, more than 4 million passengers a year pass through the station. It's a lifeline for commuters and the city's economy. On the station forecourt, a forlorn queue of cabs waited for passengers who didn't exist.
I spent 7.5 hours here yesterday, 3 jobs, £42.
What can you do with £42?
It doesn't even cover my outgoings. Our cost is about £50, £60 a day here.
It's no good for anybody. Strike is not the solution. It's never a solution. It's all disrupted and people are, struggling.
Alex manages a sales team for a tech firm in London and is a regular commuter. He was supposed to be having lunch with a client. Instead, he was stuck at home.
These train strikes have really sort of hit us quite hard, and it feels like it's been going on for quite a while this time round. And it's really frustrating because you can't get up to London, you can't get to the place of work, and you can't see things or do things that you would otherwise want to do.
Guildford's Tory MP backs new laws to make it harder for unions to disrupt public transport.
One of the things that people think about with Guildford, it's a commuter town, that people must be travelling into London. What they don't appreciate is that there are people who are travelling into Guildford to work in some of our important key services. We've got a hospital here, we've got a university, we've got teachers who need to come into work. They can't all afford to live in Guildford, and so they have to travel in.
Some were forced to go the long way round, hitching a ride on an airport shuttle bus to a distant tube station.
I'm travelling to London, and because there's no train available, so I had to catch the bus.
Where will the bus take you to?
Heathrow.
Today it was the drivers on strike. Tomorrow and Saturday it's signallers and station staff. In Guildford it amounts to the same thing: no trains. Simon Harris, ITV News, Guildford.
OK, let's go to a very empty Waterloo Station now, and Charlene Sim. And Carol, I guess the question really is how much will London, how much longer will London have to deal with these strikes?
Well, definitely until Sunday, and beyond that, we just don't know. And here at Waterloo, the last train departed about 15 minutes ago, and they're about to close the place. And that's how it's been here all week, because today train drivers from the ASLEF union decided to go on strike the same week that the RMT union are holding their strike. Train companies have been running a severely reduced service, and passengers have just had to get on with it.
But they're saying people, don't travel, you don't have to. But I'm a doctor, I have to be in work today, and so along with other people, they've still got to keep going.
It took me about 2 and a bit hours where usually I can just get in an hour.
The train was absolutely rammed this morning. People getting very angry, trying to get on, couldn't get on at some of the stations, so it was quite difficult. But we got here, so just looking forward to going home now.
Well, this dispute was further exacerbated today when the government announced strike legislation. It means it wants a minimum service to run on strike days, and that will be a legal requirement. Employers will be given powers possibly to sue unions and sack staff if they don't meet those minimum requirements. It's angered unions, and Mick Whelan from ASLEF today told me he just wants this dispute resolved.
My whole ethos, the last 38 years of my life, has been about growing an integrated, greener, safer transport system with rail at the heart of it. Right, so we want to support passengers. We want to get back to doing our day jobs. So that message is, let's get this resolved. Let's get back to what we do best.
Well, the RMT will start 2 further strike days from tomorrow. The ASLEF train drivers have until the 16th of January to decide what their next step will be, but it could well mean there will be further strikes to come before the end of the month.
All right, Carolyn, thanks very much. Well, you can find out which strikes will affect you and when over on our website. Just go to itv.com/London. The human remains found at Oakwood Pond in Harlow have been identified as 59-year-old Philip Lewis. 2 men have been arrested after Essex police officers drained the pond yesterday. Helen Keenan has been at the scene and sent this report.
A popular figure in the community, well loved by his family and friends. 59-year-old Philip Lewis's remains discovered in Oakwood Pond in the town he had called home for many years. Known affectionately as Scottish Phil, police say they are working relentlessly to bring those responsible for his murder to justice.
I want to extend my condolences to Philip's family and friends and reiterate my commitment to them that we will work relentlessly to bring those responsible for his murder to justice. I want to thank the community here in Harlow for their support. I know this investigation has caused shock and concern, but we don't believe there is an ongoing risk to the wider public. However, you will continue to see a visible police presence in the area.
Today, police confirm they have arrested 2 men, a 52-year-old on suspicion of murder and a 23-year-old on suspicion of conspiracy to commit murder. They are both currently in custody, while detectives work to build a picture of Philip's life leading up to his death. What police are looking for now is for people who are living in this area around the pond to check any CCTV or doorbell footage dating back to the 1st of November. They also want anyone who was in contact with the victim at that time to come forward. Today, specialist officers used drones in their search of the water where Philip's remains were found on New Year's Eve. The painstaking process of draining the pond, they believe, could lead to some potentially vital evidence and give Philip's loved ones the answers they need about what happened to him and why. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
Police have released an image of a 14-year-old girl who went missing 10 months ago after failing to show up for school in South London. Saidatu Jalloh, who would now be 15, was reported missing by staff in Lambeth back in March after they were told she had left the area and would not be returning. Antoine Allen has joined us in the studio. And firstly, Antoine, why are the police appealing now, 10 months later?
Well, after the police were made aware that Saidatu was missing in March, they say they went to the address held by the school and were told that her mother had taken her, and at the time they had no evidence to disprove that fact. Later, a further inquiry was made with the Children's Services team, and whilst trying to find the girl's mother, no record of Saidatu's mother was found, nor could they find a name that matched that of the missing daughter. The police say this is a cause for concern, but it does not indicate necessarily that she was at risk at the time. They go on to say that in April, they shared her details with the Met School Officers team. So if she registered with a different school, they'd be able to know and potentially find her. But by December, Saidatu remained missing, and the police decided to release her image to the public because all realistic lines of inquiry had been exhausted. So Charlene, in terms of those 10 months, well, The answer could be here in terms of the police statement. Releasing images of children is not a decision they take lightly. But it is still an ongoing investigation. They want anybody with information to contact them as soon as possible.
All right, Antoine, thanks very much. A court's heard how Olympic cyclist Mark Cavendish appeared very distressed when he opened his front door to the police minutes after a knife-point raid. It's alleged that Romario Henry and Aludiwa Okosobo broke into the cyclist's home while his family slept upstairs. They made off with 2 Richard Mille watches valued around £700,000. Both denied 2 counts of robbery. And a sinkhole has closed a major road in Teddington. The hole opened around 4 o'clock on Kingston Road yesterday afternoon. Richmond police have said that the road will be closed for a few more days and encouraged people to use alternative routes. Police in Jamaica say a British man shot dead there was assassinated in a contract killing ordered in the UK. Sean Patterson, who was a personal trainer from Hounslow, was found with gunshot wounds on Monday at the villa that he was staying in on the island. Danny Sina has the latest.
Sean Patterson was 33 with his whole life ahead of him, but he was shot dead whilst holidaying in Jamaica. Police there now believe he was targeted.
Our investigation so far has theorized that the murder was a contract killing that emanated from Britain. There's no evidence that Patterson was robbed or has any connection in Jamaica.
Sean had flown to Jamaica with a friend to see in the new year. On Monday, he was staying at this villa when he was shot multiple times near the pool. Police in Jamaica have reportedly arrested a 34-year-old man who'd previously been deported from the UK in 2013. They also claimed Sean had a criminal past.
Shane Patterson is well known to the UK authorities and has an extensive criminal record for a number of offences which include narcotics, violence and firearms.
The 33-year-old from Hounslow was said to be planning his wedding when tragedy struck. His family in Shepherd's Bush spoke to ITV News London yesterday, calling for justice.
They've took that light away from us, basically. He hadn't even started to shine yet, no children yet. He just basically started to live his life, starting to find himself. Went to Jamaica, 72 hours, he's dead.
The priority now is for Sean's family to bring his body home. Sadly for them, more questions than answers as to why he was the victim of a contract killing. Danny Sinha, ITV News.
Still to come on the programme.
We can work it out, babe. Talk to me.
Congratulations all round to DJ Spoonie as he's been awarded a British Empire Medal for his services to his community during lockdown. He'll be joining us for a chat. And how the UK's first Braille artist is inspiring others through his work. But before that, a pioneering treatment which can smell tumours could detect early womb cancer within seconds. The so-called eye knife has been developed by researchers at Imperial College and has been described as a game changer. The team there hopes to launch clinical trials which could mean it's used to diagnose other cancers too. Rags Martell's report starts with footage of the knife being trialled.
It's called an eye knife. A sizzling scientific breakthrough where from smoke it can smell cancer.
I think it's game changing. I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to revolutionise how we care for our patients.
Using this unassuming machine, scientists at Imperial College have developed a way to accurately diagnose womb cancer within seconds, when it usually can take weeks.
You're speeding up the answer for the patient. One, reducing anxiety. In the other case, you're actually shortening the time to treatment for cancer patients.
And this is how the eye knife works. After burning tissue, smoke is carried through a tube and processed into a computer.
You can build a model, and this is the intelligent bit of this eye knife. You build a model with known tissues, and then what you can do is to use the eye knife again for an unknown bit of tissue, and you run it through recognition, and it will tell you whether you're cutting through, for example, cancer or non-cancerous tissue.
Within moments, the computer gives its diagnosis when it finds cancer tissue.
Womb cancer is the 4th most common cancer in women, and it's one that people have often not heard about until they're sitting in a small white room being told that they have it.
This research was funded by the Eve Appeal Cancer Charity, who say biopsy results can sometimes take up to 5 weeks.
And I guess if people are waiting 5 weeks and do have cancer, I mean, time is a huge factor.
Absolutely, absolutely. The faster you know what you're dealing with, the better. With cancer, you know, it really doesn't wait. You might need to wait for your test results. Cancer doesn't wait, it carries on.
Faith Canton was diagnosed with an aggressive womb cancer, which was removed, but she's all too aware of the importance of time.
Friends who I made through the experience of cancer, some of them haven't made it. They didn't have the time, and if they'd have had the information sooner, and if they'd had a faster diagnosis and their treatment had started sooner, they might still be alive right now.
This iKnife research is still in development, but could soon be cutting through waiting times. Rags Martel, ITV News.
Next to a guest who's no stranger to this show. We may all know DJ Spoonie for his radio and DJ career, but it was this that earned him a British Empire Medal in the New Year's Honours List.
Hi guys, it's DJ Spoonie. I know this is a really tough time. I hope you're all keeping well and staying home. Here at Spoonie's house, we're trying to keep spirits high by doing some live streams. And then on a Friday...
The Hackney DJ streamed live across Twitch and YouTube every weekend for 10 weeks during the pandemic, keeping people's spirits up. He raised more than £20,000 for the NHS and more than 1 million people tuned into his sets. Spoonie, a huge congratulations on your medal. How does it feel to get that royal seal of approval?
Thank you very much, Charlene. Thank you for having me on. If I'm completely honest, I mean, the Royal Seal of Approval is cool, but having the love and the support and the messages from the community that I was actually trying to serve has meant quite a whole lot more. So, yeah, I guess it's a win-win all round.
Now, that the popularity of those streams really took you by surprise, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did, because, you know, there I was. I'm just looking back at the little room. You cannot believe how small that room was, but just being stuck in that room on my own some of the time, trying to broadcast just to keep people's spirits up through music. Yeah, I am still very surprised because it's like not a week goes past without someone sending a message, whether I see them in the street or online or on social media, saying what those streams meant to them. So yeah, it was nice. It is nice.
It really does solidify the importance of music, because I remember listening to those sessions during the pandemic, and just hearing your voice and seeing your passion for music really did help lift spirits in my house. But it does really show that during dark times, music can help so many, can't it?
Well, music has been, I think that I'm lucky I've had this sort of, whether this talent or it's a bit of hard work or a combination of both, where I'm able to entertain people through music. And I really feel blessed that I have this skill to do that. And the pandemic meant that I was able to share it and put it to good use. And, you know, it wasn't totally selfless, because it actually allowed me to keep my ear and eye in and keep up in my skill level too. So yeah, it was a win-win all the way around.
And you talked about how important it was to help your community. Do you think it is important for high-profile names such as yourself to sort of pitch in and to help people at times of national distress as the pandemic caused?
If I'm completely honest, I mean, most of the people that I know that are high-profile, people do things. It doesn't always get written about. It doesn't always get broadcast. I was doing something that actually was broadcast, so there was no way around it. But, you know, it is important for those who can that they do. And at that point in time, I had the equipment, I had, you know, the infrastructure set up to do it, and just thought, you know what, let's do this. People love music. Yeah. I love music, and even if I'm only helping 5 people, that's going to be better than none, right?
Well, you helped so many more than that. And I know that you dedicated the medal to your mum, who was such a great inspiration to you. Do you think she'd be super proud of you right now?
Yeah, I hope she'd be proud. You know, my love of music, you know, seeing her there and seeing my brothers there might actually put a tear in my eye. But she, you know, my mum's everything. My mum taught me everything, the sacrifices that she made for me and my brothers. And I think my awareness of benevolence and the importance of it and the importance of community 100% comes from my mum. So, you know, I just wish that she was here, the late great woman that she was, to see this. But in her name and in her honour, I will accept this award, because I was a little bit unsure whether to accept it or not, but I think I'll accept it for Mum.
Oh, I tell you what, wherever she is, I'm sure she's shining down with a massive smile on her face. Spoonie, it was an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for having us on.
There's a big clash for Chelsea tonight. It's a take on Manchester City in just over an hour's time. Let's take a look at the rest of the sport.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Off the field, the Blues have signed defender Benoit Badiashile on a 7.5-year deal. The 21-year-old joins after he made 135 appearances for League One side Monaco. Speaking on social media, the Frenchman said he couldn't wait to see the fans and start playing in the best league in the world. And QPR manager Neil Critchley says he's expecting a tough outing against Fleetwood Town in this weekend's FA Cup. The Hoops travel to Lancashire for their match on Saturday, hoping to secure a place in the draw for the 4th round. And finally, how one artist who lost his sight as a child is inspiring other children with his work. Clark Reynolds is the UK's first blind braille artist and has created an exhibition in Shoreditch for both blind and seeing people. He says he hopes it might help bring braille into school curriculums. Daniel Henry went along to meet him.
London is full of art exhibitions, but you'd struggle to find another one like this.
How would you describe your work to somebody who doesn't know that much about the art world?
Art is for everyone. You don't have to have an art degree or a degree in art history to fully understand the artwork. You just come along and appreciate it for what it is. If you didn't know I was blind and you came to this exhibition, you'd think that just a normal person with sight would have done this exhibition. So it's breaking down the myth that someone with a vision impairment can coexist in mainstream art. You know, Qantas Gallery is amazing. They give me this opportunity, not because I'm a tick box exercise, which happens a lot in the industry that I work in. You know, we become a fad in a way. Oh, we need to work with this so-and-so neurodiverse artist, or we need to work with so-and-so deaf artist. Why is that the case? You know, it should be just done purely on the art.
The artwork that Clark Reynolds produces is known for its use of Braille. It seems to be a hit with these young critics.
It's inspiring me how he used different language and how he read it, because I've never been blind before, but I've never known that a blind man could make art.
So, this is the first time that you've touched Braille. And what do you think about it?
I think it's pretty cool how it's like so colourful. It's cool because when he feels it, he knows what letter it is.
Cheers.
I found all the R's.
You found all the R's, and what colour is R?
Blue.
Perfect. I go to schools and I teach them Braille, but then from the Braille comes the questions. Those young people ask those questions about sight loss. And what's key for me is once those kids fully understand what blindness is and ask those questions that adults don't ask, that next generation growing up, the stigma attached to young vision impaired children now, hopefully will disappear.
I got M. Yeah. Then we got
Clark's first solo showing in the capital runs until the 4th of February. And the memories made will last a lot longer than that. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
OK, time now for a look at the weather. Here's Manali Luca.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
car, charger and energy.
Hello there, good evening to you. As we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend, our weather is looking unsettled. It will be windy with spells of rain. Now, if we take a look at the bigger picture, this is the weather front that will bring a spell of wet and windy weather for a time tonight, but it will clear through quite quickly. Behind it, a brief ridge of high pressure building for Friday. So once the rain clears through, it's looking like a really nice day. But waiting out in the wings, we've got this next area of low pressure to move in from the Atlantic just in time for the weekend. So we are going to see further windy spells, showers or longer spells of rain. So back to the here and now. Tonight, cloudy skies, outbreaks of rain, initially light. The winds, you'll notice, start to pick up later on tonight. And then that band of rain will start to move in. Some heavy rainfall for a time, but it does clear through quite quickly. Behind it, skies will clear. Overnight lows tonight, 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. So into Friday, well, it's looking lovely. Lengthy spells of sunshine. It will be quite windy initially, but the winds starting to slowly die down through the day. A bit of cloud building into the afternoon. The air tomorrow will be fresher. Temperatures 9 to 11 degrees Celsius. Then as we head through tomorrow evening, the showers will start to break out initially, and then we'll see more wet weather move in Friday night into Saturday. And as I mentioned, that sets us up for an unsettled weekend. Saturday will be windy and wet, especially through the morning, the rain gradually clearing through. Further showers on Sunday, merging at times into longer spells of rain. At least Monday is offering up something a little bit drier and brighter. Bye-bye.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
All right, just before we go this evening, it's an accolade only previously awarded to some of the biggest music icons like the Beatles, Queen and the Rolling Stones. But now the Royal Mail has given Iron Maiden their stamp of approval. The rock legends were founded in Leighton back in 1975 and will now feature on 12 new stamps. They've had one #1 in the UK with the 1988 single Bring Your Daughters to the Slaughter and 35 songs in the top 40. Right, that's it from us. We're back with the latest after ITV News at 10. Mary's got your ITV Evening News next, but for me and the rest of the London team, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.